An arrow pierces the man's throat directly. Everyone is at a loss, watching their comrade fall onto the bonfire. Faced with slaughter from an unknown source, all they can do is stay on guard. Another person falls. Survivors instinctively open fire, but accidentally hit a comrade. Confronted with impending death, ultimately, fear takes the upper hand. Some, ignoring their comrades' protests, flee into the forest, unaware it's the gateway to hell. This is the enemy's ploy, exploiting humans' fear of death, luring them into fleeing, exposing them completely.
Nobody move! Just stay where you are!
They want pelts. We gotta get on that boat right now. We're gonna lose it all.
Seeing the enemy no longer deceived, the hidden Native Americans finally charge out. Seeing the enemy emerge, people in the woods begin to fight back, but the longer it drags, the more unfavorable. Leader Gra takes control of the situation. He orders everyone to leave the woods and return to the boat. With Gra's command, the whole group gains direction. They follow Gra's orders, moving towards the boat, while picking up hides from the ground, though some lose their lives in the process. This is why they came from the city to here. Some, realizing escape is hopeless, begin to shoot the horses, the only thing they can do for their comrades. Even so, many are still killed by Native Americans during the retreat. Several, led by the captain, escape to the boat, but the crisis is not over. Bloodthirsty Native Americans swarm up, facing imminent annihilation. The captain, who has weathered countless storms, decisively orders the ropes cut, abandoning comrades who haven't boarded yet. His ruthlessness leads to countless deaths at the hands of the Native Americans, yet it also saves a dozen lives on the boat. But just as they board, thinking they've escaped danger, Guide Gra insists they disembark again, because drifting will surely be discovered by the Native Americans. They must carve out a new path on land. This decision meets with opposition, yet the captain makes the final call. He firmly believes Gra knows this land better than anyone else, though the return journey will delay them for weeks. It's better than losing their lives. Gra shoulders the safety of the entire team. He decides to go ahead alone to scout the situation for the team. Yet besides Native Americans, the jungle harbors countless dangers. One misstep could lead to an unmarked grave. He turned his head and looked behind him. Behind him, a fully grown brown bear was charging towards him rapidly. Just as he was about to shoot, he was tackled to the ground by the bear's massive body weighing over 1,000 pounds, and he let out a gruesome scream. But no matter how much he struggled, he couldn't break free from the bear's grip. The man could feel his back probably a bloody mess by now, yet the intense pain kept his mind unusually clear. Having lived in the jungle for years, he knew the only option now was to play dead. Seeing the man go still, the bear eventually ceased its attack, but to make sure its prey was truly dead, it pressed its massive paw, bigger than the man's head, onto the man's skull. Grass knew he had passed the first test. Despite the agony, he dared not make a sound, knowing he was still the dinner for this family of 3. Enduring the pain, he struggled to pick up the fallen rifle on the ground. He was waiting for an opportunity, one where he could strike decisively, but Grass also knew that his injuries were fatal if left untreated. The bear seemed to sense something amiss, and slowly approached the man. The sudden attack made the bear angrily resume its assault, even more fiercely than before. The ferocious attack caused the neck wound to bleed profusely, and the bear's movements noticeably faltered. Seizing this opportunity in his dying breaths, Grass stabbed the bear repeatedly with a knife. The injured bear finally couldn't hold on and collapsed, though he had successfully killed the beast in retaliation. Grass's injuries were dire. Luckily, the gunshot had attracted teammates from afar. Everyone was stunned by the sight before them. Neither the bleeding throat, nor the mangled back, were wounds any ordinary person could withstand. His companions were amazed by Grass's tenacious will to live, but they were also worried. His screams might attract nearby Native Americans. Thus, the dozen-strong team began to have differing opinions. Grass's nightmare began. After a grueling night, Grass didn't die, but if they were to take him along, the entire team might face death. Nor could they stay here indefinitely. With the snow accumulating beneath their feet, the captain made a difficult decision.
$70 bonus to the Rocky Mountain Fur Company to the 2 men that stays back with Glass to see this through.
I'll stay. Me too. Money or not, I'll stay.
Apart from Grass's son who volunteered to stay and care for him, the captain also offered a $100 reward. In the end, a kind-hearted young man chose to stay, along with a cunning old hunter. As the team departed, the captain instructed the old hunter to give Grass a dignified burial if he didn't make it. Before that, they mustn't abandon him. Yet, as soon as the team had left, the old hunter impatiently dispatched the 2 left behind, and dug a grave nearby. Given Grass's injuries, he believed Grass wouldn't live much longer. Better to end his suffering quickly, than let him linger in agony. But just then, his son, realizing something was amiss, came back. But in their struggle, the son was overpowered by the old hunter, and pinned to a tree, stabbed to death with a knife. Grass watched helplessly as his son was dragged away by another, unable to voice his protest due to his injured throat. When Jim returned and found his companion missing, he wanted to search nearby, but the old hunter lied, claiming he had seen Native Americans nearby, and promptly shoved Grass into the dug grave, leaving him to fend for himself. Jim, too, feared the terror of the Native Americans, so he left Grass and the old hunter behind and walked away. But not long after, a hand covered in dirt emerged from the grave, bearing the mark of a man consumed by vengeance. How could Grass die so easily? The man who came back to life poured himself a mouthful of water, but to his surprise, the water all flowed out from his neck. The festering wound caused him unbearable pain. He knew that if he continued like this, even if he didn't die of thirst, he would die from his severe injuries. But with a deep-seated vendetta, he couldn't easily give up. So he laid dry grass on the ground first, then poured some gunpowder from the bottle, and smeared it on the leaking throat, put the leftover gunpowder on licorice, lit it with flint, brought a bit of flame close to the wound. When the gunpowder met the open flame, it evaporated instantly. The intense pain caused the man to faint on the spot. When he woke up, he had to leave the primitive forest as soon as possible. The murder of his son haunted him. To survive, he ate raw meat when hungry. When cold, he would crawl inside a horse's belly for warmth. Afraid of forgetting his enemy's name, he wrote it repeatedly on the ground every day. After enduring countless hardships, he encountered a rescue team at the edge of the jungle. The captain, learning the truth from him, went back to the camp, and searched everywhere for the old hunter. He would never forgive someone who abandoned their companions. But when the old hunter learned that the man was alive, he broke into the captain's safe and escaped. Though the mastermind fled, Jim, who remained, became the target of their rage. Fortunately, the man didn't blame him. The loss of his son left the man soulless. His sole purpose now was revenge. Having passed through the gates of hell, he no longer feared death. 2 men, 2 guns. The captain and the man followed the old hunter's trail, but they gradually lost it. To find their target faster, they decided to split up. But this was exactly the trap set by the old hunter. He ambushed the captain on his inevitable path. Upon hearing the gunshot, the man hurriedly rushed over with his horse, but when he arrived, he found only the captain's cold body, and his scalp had been taken off. The man instantly understood it was the old hunter's intention, to make him think it was the work of the Indians, so he pretended not to know, and brought the captain's body back to the camp, while the old hunter hid in the shadows, thinking his plot had succeeded. Unaware he was walking into the man's trap. As the man fell off his horse, the old hunter couldn't contain his excitement, and quickly approached, but when he opened the fur coat, he saw a wooden stick supporting the body tied to his back. Injured, the old hunter had no extra strength to escape. He was quickly caught up by the man. After an intense fight, the winner between the two was decided, with the old hunter wounded by several knives. Finally, the man's deep vendetta was avenged. But having completed his revenge, he felt immensely empty, and thus the movie concludes, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, and he won a Golden Globe for Best Actor for that role. Friends, I suggest watching the original film. It will definitely not disappoint you.